Welcome to In the Green Room. I'm Kinga.
And I'm Chet.
And this is Martin. Welcome, everybody.
In the green room, got green. We're saving the planet.
One show at a time. We're celebrating Earth Day again.
Plants at a time.
That's right.
And Ricardo, Richard, that's our very favorite, one of our favorite regulars.
Thank you.
He's our
Our
wino.
wine enthusiast.
Your resident wino. Now mind the spelling, W-I-N-E-A-U-X.
Oh, wino. I see.
And we are drinking some Arizona wine
Yeah,
because we
good
are
one.
celebrating that Earth Day is every day.
Mm-hmm.
And we're also featuring gardening, edible gardens with Amy's Gardens. Yes. And what's this wine called?
Oh, I have no idea.
That's from Dos Cabezas. It's a wonderful rosé.
Yeah, it is.
It's
It's
a very
from
good rosé.
Cimarron Vineyard.
Yeah.
We need you to talk into the mic you just said.
The Cimarron Vineyard.
You have to kiss the mic, get so close that you want to make out with it.
No,
I've seen the videos.
You don't gotta kiss. You don't
I've
gotta
seen the videos. I'm sitting back here and I can hear myself fine. I've watched the videos. Anyway, Cimarron Vineyard, I believe, is the one that was started by, I'm trying to remember, but it's down in the Sonoyta Elgin area.
Yep, exactly.
And Dos Cabezas has been around. This is the first winery that Sam Pillsbury worked with, you know.
Is
Dos
it?
Cabezas,
The
yeah.
one and only,
Oh,
our
really?
favorite winery
Yeah.
in Arizona is Sam
Yeah.
Pillsbury.
And we're still celebrating Earth Day. In the
Earth
Green
Day is
Room,
every
because
day.
Every day should be Earth Day.
Yeah.
And it
Cheers
just
to that.
passed.
So does it
and,
tell you? Yeah, sorry.
Cheers.
Earth Day.
Oh,
every
what I
day.
was going to say is the number one thing we can try to do as a culture to become more sustainable and get towards a utopia is by sourcing local products. From our food to our groceries to our wine, everything. The more local we can source it, the better. And the best place you can possibly do it is from your backyard. That's as local as you can possibly get it. So that's really impressive that you have this kind of a garden. What kind of limitations do you have growing in Arizona? Because this show's based out of Arizona. We have listeners all over, but
All over the world.
it's fun talking about what crops will do well in certain regions and stuff.
Well,
like
I
that.
think the biggest thing is growing seasonally. You cannot grow out of season, otherwise you're going to have a whole bunch of bolted product or something that just dies. So from our end, you can't grow things like corn and potatoes in a hot climate. And you just need to be really, really, really wise with what you're growing and exactly when you plant it. So as an example, right now, what is today? April 24th? Yeah, we'll go with that. My birthday's tomorrow. Hey, I forgot about
Happy
that.
Happy early
birthday!
Oh, you forgot, huh?
I know, I'm only going to be 29 plus
Again.
16 or 17. Right now, the things that are growing really fast are tomatoes and artichokes.
She has
Yeah,
big
your
artichokes.
were
Yeah, I've got some
amazing.
here in the
Yeah.
basket here.
Yeah.
And
Good for
then
them.
also the zucchini's going to start taking off here once the temperatures consistently get above about 95.
Right,
So
right.
I think it's just a function of when. But in the winter time, you can get some really good, kind of do the zucchini and, not the zucchini, the broccoli and cauliflower and all those types of things. So it's fun.
How long have you been doing this garden?
Just a couple years.
Okay.
Started in
Oh,
the
that's
middle-
what you said. You
yeah.
started during the pandemic, which I
I
find
did.
very interesting because, you know, a lot of people did things for the first time during the pandemic. They had time on their hands and they did some very creative things. And that's a great story.
So good things come out of bad things.
Yeah,
Sure.
well, yeah.
Well, the bourbon collection was another one.
Bourbon collection.
Hey,
Speaking
oh, I thought
of-
that was a joke. Is that for real?
For real.
Really?
Oh,
so
yeah.
so tell us about that. How did that get started? And
Well,
how many
it's-
bottles do you have?
I probably have like 75 bottles.
Don't say your address.
I'm not even telling people where I live. But I
That's
just started. I
great.
had some friends that got into
Wow.
it, and I was like, hey, this is
Wow.
really delicious stuff. I really need
It
to.
is America's whiskey. It's the most popular whiskey in America. Now, bourbon, also incidentally, is an agricultural product
Okay.
It is.
made from grain.
Okay.
And there are some local distilleries that are making
Yes.
some good stuff. Have you collected any local stuff?
Well, I do have a couple of Arizona
Do you?
whiskeys, but not Arizona bourbon.
What's the difference
I don't
between
know.
whiskey and bourbon? I don't know.
Well, I believe bourbon is 51% corn. Is that
Yes,
correct?
Something like that,
51%
yeah.
That is
corn.
correct. Bourbon could be made anywhere in America. There
Okay.
are rules. The number one is 51% corn. The other rule is that they are aged in white American oak, brand new barrels,
Yes,
every
new
batch.
New barrels.
New barrels.
New-
So
why-
what
why?
happens to all those new barrels after one batch of bourbon? They get shipped to Scotland to age Scotch. They get shipped to Jalisco, to Mexico, to age tequila.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or they break them up into pieces and
Yeah.
sell them, as in Pappy Van Winkle. I have a
Right.
beautiful little collection of Pappy Van Winkle barrel products, but can I get my hands on a
Yeah.
bottle? Absolutely
They make
not.
furniture out of them too, you know.
Is that the most rare bourbon?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
one of
say it
those.
slowly. What is it called?
Pappy Van Winkle.
Pappy
One
Van
of those
Winkle.
cult.
Really?
It's a cult following. If you can
Yeah.
get a bottle, you are cooking with gas.
Okay.
The closest amazing bourbon I have come across is actually out of Las Vegas, a company called Smoke Wagon.
I know it. It's very popular.
It is awesome.
Yes.
Smoke wagon.
Smoke wagon
Yep.
bourbon or
Yes.
whiskey.
Well, have me on again and we can talk
Okay.
about it some
Well,
more.
wait, we'll do a whole bourbon show, actually.
I'll bring my bourbon friends. We'll have a great time.
That's an interesting topic. And you know what smoke wagon refers to? Smoke wagon, speaking of firearms, was the colloquial, the kind of slang name for the repeating revolver. The
Really?
first
Really?
A smoke
the-
wagon.
The
That
first repeating.
explains why there's a gun on the label.
Okay.
That's why the gun's on the
Interesting.
label. The first repeating revolver by Colt.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So how much would a bottle of smoke wagon cost?
Depends on what level. There is an
Yeah.
entry level bottle at like $30, which
Mhm.
is fantastic for making old fashions.
Yeah.
And then they've got the uncut unfiltered is probably my favorite, which is around an $80 bottle.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I've
Mhm.
tasted. It's very good.
I did snag a rare and limited one, so I don't remember what it cost, but it's phenomenal and probably one of the best bourbons I think that I've had.
It's an
Okay.
Interesting.
story.
Good to
A couple
know.
guys met in a bar in LA and ended up going to Vegas, starting this distillery, right? And the rest is history. It's a great
Wow.
story.
Really? So they were strangers? They met at a bar and they... That's interesting.
I
Love
have a
it.
question. Is it true that in Arizona, unlike many other places where we have very distinct seasons,
Mhm.
we really have more than one growing season here?
True,
right?
and I would say a lot of the same things that you can grow in the fall, you can also grow in the spring. It's just dependent upon when you grow it or when you plant it. And a lot of things can't be started from seed here, it just doesn't work.
Okay.
Mhm.
So
If you don't start it from seed, how do you start it?
with starts
Seedlings.
from
Yes.
from our favorite nurseries, which after just a tiny bit of research, I know that you have done a little bit of work with Barrage. So
Yes.
Barrage and
Yes.
Summer Winds are probably my two favorites locally to get products. So
Well, you want to shop local and support
Absolutely.
local. And Barrage
Yeah.
is a beautiful property, and all
really
the people
is.
that work there are so generous with their time and very
And that-
informative.
And it's really the biggest thing that everyone can focus on to make a big change. Because if everyone started only shopping locally, it would do away with so much of the demand to have products shipped all over the world, which is where most
Right.
of the fossil fuels are
Mhm.
burned. So the main way we as consumers can change the system is by shopping locally.
And
it's-
trying not to use Amazon.
But in Walmart and all those big corporate brands where everything is just made in China.
Can I brag for a minute? I never have used Amazon.
well, that makes one of you.
Yeah. Well, and also, I mean, like gardening, going to the gardening thing,
Uh-huh.
vegetables and fruits out of your garden taste better. They
Well, you
hands
can
down.
control the process.
Mhm.
You know where it came from. You know what you put in it.
Yep. Well, but you
And
know
we've got
that,
some-
but even beyond that, just that fresh flavor from the garden.
incredible.
It is incredible.
Like we literally cut these
Oh.
at 1 o'clock today. It's okay. I like having carrots in my hair.
Oh, you wear them in your hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I pulled
a
strawberries and mulberries out of my garden this
There's a
weekend. And they
carrot.
were delicious.
It's a purple carrot.
Yeah.
Nice.
If
Look
we
at this.
decide to wash these off later, you can eat them.
And look at this gorgeous
Cauliflower.
cauliflower. I mean, that's a beautiful
Yeah.
cauliflower.
Little
Wow.
green carrot.
Impressive
Carrot.
cauliflower.
Look
Wow.
I mean, look
Size
at that.
of
Carrots
Isn't
and
that
beets.
delicious?
These are some white beets.
White
These
beets.
are awesome.
Oh, there's a choke.
Artichoke.
Very nice.
I got a
Yeah.
couple artichokes. Be careful with that one. It's got little
Look at the
prickles on
size
it.
of
Prickles.
that, Yeah.
Yeah, those
Artichokes.
artichokes
Don't
are
enjoy
really
yourself.
nice.
Look at that. Aren't these
the
nice?
artichoke plants. They look
Oh, nice.
so.
It just
They're
smells
huge.
good.
Yeah.
It smells so
huge.
good.
Yeah.
It smells so good.
Well,
so,
I think I went to Italy 2 weeks ago, and I had one artichoke on on the plants. I came back and there was like 25.
Mhm.
Wow.
So I had cut 2 off, and that's all I'd had. one that was growing and ended up with a ton more. So it was exciting.
Now, I assume that in Italy and all the little towns and all over, like most of Europe, you have amazing farmers markets.
Yes.
Right? With all, I'm telling you, you can hear it.
I can hear you perfectly.
Yeah.
Even with these on.
Amazing farmers markets there that
Yes.
you can go to daily, basically.
People beg me to have a farmer's market, and I'm like, no, I'd just like to give it to my friends and eat it
See,
myself.
guys, did you hear that? She gives the vegetables to her friends.
Share it with your neighbors. I
And
mean,
when you go to pick the vegetables, you get to drink bourbon.
this is not a bad thing.
Do you ever sell them at the farmer's markets, or do you just give them away to friends?
Just gives away.
Well, for people that don't have the time to farm or don't have the yard and all
Right.
that kind of stuff, farmers markets are an awesome alternative
Yes.
Yeah.
to find stuff that's grown locally
Mhm.
and support small farmers and small businesses that just really sustainable.
Well, there's also a couple of charities that farm and sell the vegetables and fruits for to raise money. So it's it does a lot of different things.
And if you have a
Okay.
surplus, quite often you can donate it to one of those charities or food
Sure.
banks or something
Yeah.
too. So that's, if you want to be super crazy altruistic with it, you can.
Well, anytime you have an excess, right here, I will cook for in the green room for all
So
of us.
water obviously
Yes.
is a big deal here in the desert. How much water does it take? It's about the same as your
Good
grass
question.
lawn before that.
It's exactly the same, if not about 25% less.
Mhm.
So keeping grass green in Arizona is impossible.
Mhm.
And so after 15 years of doing that, I said, why am I paying for this?
Right.
Plus, I'm allergic to grass. So every time I would walk out onto my grass, I'd break out in hives. It wasn't a good move. So we started with 2 beds, and
So the raised
Raised
beds.
beds?
They're
2 raised beds.
yeah.
They're just raised off the ground. They're
Mhm.
not like super high or anything.
Yeah,
They're just
yeah.
a couple feet off the
Sure.
ground,
Mm-hmm.
and just made with little products you can get at Lowe's or wherever.
Mhm.
But we started with 2 and thought, okay, well maybe we'll do 4. So we got a shipment of dirt,
This is her secret gardener.
really nice
When
silt,
she says we.
super nice silt.
Secret garden.
Yeah.
And they accidentally miscalculated the amount. So we had enough to do 2/3 of the yard, and so I just said, well, let's just go for the whole thing.
All right.
So how big is that then?
Well, I've got 13
beds?
raised beds
Yeah,
that are
13 raised beds.
probably
Wow, is this all in the backyard?
everything's in the backyard.
Each bed's
You
about
have
like
a-
this
You have a
size.
good sized yard, obviously.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she does.
It's
She
a
has
good
nice
size.
yard.
Yeah.
And then I did the whole perimeter with fruit trees, and then in the middle there's some nice fruit trees too. And in the front yard I've got a couple. So
Lovely.
this
Wonderful.
year was a fun year. We did peach and nectarine and apricot and a pluot
Oh, yeah.
and
Mhm.
another Meyer lemon and another blood orange.
Meyer lemons. Oh,
An
Meyer
Australian
lemon, yeah.
finger lime, which I'm really excited about. That's
Really?
super cool.
yeah.
That'll be fun.
That's gonna be
Yeah.
really cool. And
Really
I can't
fun.
wait for the banana trees to produce too. So I've
Oh,
got
you
4
have?
of
Oh,
those.
I couldn't keep mine alive. I tried to grow 3 of them, and they
Are
just
they,
didn't.
And there's 2
didn't
apple
last
trees.
the summer.
Yeah.
There's 2 apple trees.
Yeah,
too.
and they have little apples on them. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw the apples.
Yeah, and
They're,
the apricot tree has
Are they,
apricots on
the
I'm
them.
already-
blue bananas?
craving an apple crisp.
One of them
You
is.
have a blue banana?
I do have one.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Now, I don't know when these are going to produce or
Yeah.
if.
It takes
but,
them a while.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's pretty hot here for bananas.
So how do you
It
do
is.
this organically? Like how do you keep the bugs out?
Well, I try to plant every once in a while. You'll plant a plant that loves bugs, and you'll distract the bugs with that plant.
Mhm.
It's kind of nifty. And then the ladybugs are great. I've got a ton of them back there.
Ladybugs.
I
That's the
love
bug you
geckos.
want.
Ladybugs are great.
Yeah.
So ladybugs.
And then insecticidal soap. So some little bit of dish soap with a whole lot of water. That'll get rid of a lot of bugs.
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So wait, like Dawn?
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't like
Wow.
that. It changes the viscosity of water, so
Mhm.
they don't
They don't like it.
So do you have drip
Interesting.
irrigation or what?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
And we just converted the sprinkler irrigation to more of a drip style
Mm-hmm.
and threw it all through the lawn and made adjustments as necessary. It's really fun.
Now in between the beds, you have like wood chips.
Yeah, we did like a mulch
Mm-hmm.
type
And what's the
situation.
reason for that? So you don't have dust or?
Well, didn't want dust. Plus, we wanted to kill the grass, so
Mhm.
that was the easiest way to do it, with a barrier and then
Mm.
throwing that over it. And then it's just cooler.
Because
to do
it feels
the
very
chips.
comfortable to walk on it. Very
Yeah.
cushiony.
Well, I wanted that too.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I necessarily do all the work in my garden. I'm going to be honest. I do outsource a lot of it.
Your secret gardener, but
My secret gardener.
until he helps me, we can't announce his name.
My secret gardener.
I don't want his price to go up, but I don't want him to disappear.
Well, there are more
Well,
people.
he's more of a gardening consultant,
Mhm.
so we'll.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
There are more and more people I think that are doing that are out there that know a lot about gardening, that are trying
Sure.
to help people who are interested. And
Well, there are quite a bit of classes at these
Yeah.
places too.
Mhm.
There's
Classes,
you can
groups.
learn a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of resources out there.
Well, I know you mentioned in order to have avocados, you have to have 2 trees. And I was
Right,
like,
an A
I
and a
learned
B.
that today. Chet, did you know that? You can't have
No,
avocados with only
interesting.
1 tree.
Interesting.
Okay, why?
I didn't know.
It sounds. I think my understanding.
Avocado sex.
Yes.
Pretty much.
yeah.
One
Pretty
of them
much.
fertilizes the other, and how does that happen? By bees.
Yep.
Oh.
Who doesn't love bees?
We love bees.
We love
keep
bees.
bees?
They're our favorite.
I don't keep bees, but I have a lot of them back here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Oh.
there's a lot.
So would you ever consider keeping bees?
Maybe. I'm a little afraid of bees. Just being honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got stung in between the toes as a child, so you know.
Oh.
I've got
A little
bit
trauma.
of-
Yeah.
little trauma
So
there.
you're
That's
scared of
okay.
bees, but you love bees.
Well, I love what they do for my garden.
Yes.
But they're typically pretty excited about the garden, so they'll leave you alone
Mhm.
if they've got something more exciting to do.
Yeah.
So with your this passion of gardening, which is what, 3 years now?
2, 3, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, 2,
Not
3
very
years.
long.
Do you have like? Are you getting more inspired with cooking?
Oh, I've
Okay.
always been inspired with cooking. I've always been, a quasi, fake chef.
Mhm.
And now I actually just get to go pull it from the
Home
backyard
cook
and
is,
wash
I
it.
think, the word you're looking for. Home cook.
I
Yes.
think I'm better than a home cook.
Okay.
Oh,
well,
all
home
right.
chef.
Oh, interesting.
Home chef.
Okay,
Better
with,
I'm a little
than the
better than a home
average.
cook.
So with your garden, what are your specialties now?
yes.
Oh, that's really hard. I do love to make a lot of salads, so
Mhm.
I can
Yeah.
grow a wicked black kale like nothing you've ever seen before,
Mm.
and make a salad that was inspired by one of the Fox restaurants from a million years ago.
Really?
That thank you very much, Sam Fox, and your culinary geniuses for the
Amazing.
bastardization of what I was able to do. It was great, but salads. I'll roast a vegetable any day of the week. So
Mhm.
roasted beets,
Yeah.
roasted
Yeah.
carrots, roasted anything. I made zucchini tots for the first time last year.
Ooh.
When you have a zucchini that is this
They're
long
huge.
and weighs 9 pounds,
Yeah. Yeah.
I do have pictures of it, by the way. It's pretty impressive, and you have to find something to do with all that. So I was giving away zucchinis every day of my life.
Okay, wait, hold on. Can I have you on speed dial?
I'm serious. That's really, truly how much there was. It was
No, you can
crazy.
grow a zucchini will keep growing as long
Right.
as it,
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, they get big.
No,
Yeah.
but they're not as good to eat the bigger they get. They're more pulpy. They're more,
Really?
There's going to be more seeds in the
A lot
middle.
more seeds, and
Yeah.
the texture changes. So,
So
like a little baby zucchini.
how do you know when
but,
to pick?
When you need one,
when they're right.
they're always. I mean,
They're right. A
they come out
zucchini,
right.
you can have a tiny baby zucchini, or you can have a 10-pound zucchini. It just
Right.
keeps growing.
Okay, so that's
I
how
like
you
the
think-
manageable sized
Yeah,
ones.
these squash. How do you think these pumpkins? People grow 100-pound pumpkins.
It's
and
not gonna
stuff
taste
like that.
No, it's not.
But
gonna
a
be
9-pound, the 9-pound one still
No.
tasted really good.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it was just a function of let's use it. So
Right.
we would anybody that would use it, I would help give it away. I would do whatever we could. So we were just trying to do something interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is black kale an heirloom variety?
Everything I planted in the backyard is an heirloom
It
variety.
is.
Yeah.
Really?
Because
Oh, okay.
it's just more fun that way.
No, and so you're able to source heirloom varieties.
You
at
can
these
source heirloom
nurseries.
seeds super easily.
So teach us about heirloom. Why is that
well,
better?
Just old, like the old original
Yeah.
non-GMO.
Yeah, exactly.
They haven't been altered by anything
Yeah.
other than growth over
And
time.
they taste better. They're more natural.
Flavorful.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
They haven't had the flavor bred out of
Yeah.
them, much
Okay.
like people.
So you're familiar with some of the seed banks that
Yeah.
exist here as well, which are very
Mhm.
important.
But if you need to get access to lesser expensive or just easy seeds to get, Baker heirloom seeds
Yeah.
is awesome.
They're really good.
They have everything you can imagine.
What do you think is the easiest crop for Arizonans to grow if they don't have that much time to commit to a garden, but they want to put something in their yard?
Rosemary.
Rosemary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a lot of the herbs. I've had good luck with
Mint.
basil. I've had good
Yeah.
luck with mint. Yeah,
Jalapenos.
Citrus supposed
Yes.
to be pretty well suited for the environment here. Or?
It can be. You just have to make sure you don't overwater it.
Mhm. Well, that's a big thing too. People think they have to water gardens, like, you have to water grass to keep it green. But if you want to kind of withhold water, because it creates a much stronger plant,
The
more
stress on
resilient.
the plant.
Yeah, you stress them, you get more flavor. Like it just with grapes and wine, you want
Right.
smaller grapes because you want a more flavorful grape, and that's kind of the same thing with I think with gardens. At least that's been my experience.
So with
True.
the crops, you don't want them to be too big because it depletes the flavors. And
In many
minerals?
cases, yeah. So we'll do a lot of pruning of the fruit trees. My secret gardener did a lot of pruning this year to try to make sure that we would gain the maximum, how do you call it? I guess the maximum return on investment. So the best possible product available.
Interesting.
Yeah. I've got to go through, like, I'm probably here in the next month. I'll have to go through and prune my all my orange and my lemon tree because they've just blossomed. They've got tons of blooms on them, and
It's
that's
insane.
it's too many. Because if I let all of those grow into oranges or lemons, then it's going to overtax the tree, and I won't get anything. So you've got to pull them
really?
off and make sure that there's the right number on each branch, so it doesn't weight it down too much. It doesn't use too much
That's
water.
super interesting. I did not know about that
We
process.
probably pruned off 50% of my Meyer lemon tree this year.
Yeah.
Same thing with my orange tree.
Pruning is essential in vineyards as well, as you know. And there's different types of pruning, and there's things like green harvest where you drop fruit to get
Right.
more concentration in the, So
Yeah, absolutely. And it's similar with the garden. If you want a plant to grow a certain way, or a tree to grow a certain way, or you want a tree to be more of a bush, it's really how you prune it.
Yeah.
Well, and you guys saw the garden today. Some of the stuff that we put in, we let go to seed on purpose. And
Right.
we did that with the goal in mind of we're going to go ahead and make this bed into something really special. And the easiest way to do that is to let some of this crop go to seed and see what happens.
I really felt like the way you organized it all, and your garden just is really beautiful.
Thank
Because I
you.
mean, sometimes
I can't say that I really had a whole lot to do with it. I did have a gardener before, my secret gardener, who was also quite amazing and who came up with the layout.
I love
with
the layout.
with me,
Mhm.
and we really she did all the dimensions and really helped with all that, and it's really slick back there.
So what does something like that? Somebody who wants to get started, that's listening. What does that cost? What does it entail? And do they have to have a secret garden?
No.
Or can they figure it out on their own?
I would start with one raised planter bed,
Okay.
just one.
Yeah, you're talking probably $50 worth of lumber.
Not
Maybe.
right now. The lumber prices
A little bit
have
more.
tripled during the pandemic.
Well,
so
they're a little bit more.
So how much
Maybe
would
a
it
little
cost to do one box?
So if you're
or
gonna do
box?
one, 6x6x6x6 bed or whatever it is, 6 feet square, you could probably get away with $50 worth of lumber,
Mhm.
2x4s.
Mhm.
You need a couple of joiner pieces,
The dirt.
the dirt, the amend, the manure. Nothing like some manure. A good rake, a good shovel, and then whatever you're gonna plant. That's all you really need.
So altogether, maybe $500.
Not even.
Oh, not even.
Not
Oh, a
even.
couple $100 at most.
So a couple $100, you could have one bed,
Solid
raised
bed.
bed.
Yeah.
Okay.
And grow
Nice.
quite a bit of food.
For sure.
It's amazing how much food you can really grow in a small, relatively small area. I've seen photos of, this is so more, you talk about a great picture. I've seen photos, some in this country, but a lot in Europe, where people's front lawns are actually, instead of grass, they're gardens.
Oh, sure.
Well, that was the
Well,
initial
that's what ours
inspiration.
looks like.
That's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
initial
you've
inspiration for
yeah.
my garden. I had a
And-
friend in California that did that.
Yeah, and it's just marvelous to see that. Now imagine if 10% of the population was able to do that. What a difference even that would make,
That
right?
would make
Oh,
such
right.
a huge difference.
For the
such
earth
a
and-
huge difference.
Well, we
it's
don't
just-
need
yeah.
grass here.
No,
No.
It's
that's a Midwest
But what
thing.
about the golf course? What about my golf course?
you
I
can
want
keep
it to
the
be
golf course.
green.
You can keep the golf
You ever see
course.
a golf course in Scotland where golf was invented? Are they green? No.
But keep it on
True.
the golf course, but you don't have to keep it in your yard.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if I'm with you, I've decided, like, if I'm going to spend money on water, because water does cost money, I'm going to get something out of it. I'm
Right.
not going to just flush it down, basically, which I do anyway. But so I try to plant nothing but food bearing plants, and it's been great.
You have no grass in your yard? Is it
Well, I have
zero-scape?
I have wild grass that
Yes.
that I didn't plant.
Yes.
But that I'm trying to actually get rid of by planting more food-bearing plants to kind of snuff it out, if you will.
Well, I'm so inspired right now. I want Amy to help me start a really big garden.
It wasn't me.
Where, in
I'm
your
trying to
other
think-
house?
I'm trying to think that there's a whole area where it would just be perfect, and we could have a little gate. It could be raised up, and it would look really pretty.
Really?
Yeah, and so Amy's going to help me do that. And Owen, his new business.
There we go.
Yes,
my.
yes.
Listen, people that are just listening can't see my face right now where I make the cheesy grin of, okay. I don't do manual labor.
But you know people.
I know people, and they're great.
So what does a secret gardener charge per hour?
That is a good question. I don't actually know
Mm-hmm.
because we've kind of worked out some things. So,
Oh, really?
yeah, we worked out a little bit of a cool arrangement.
Are you
And
dating
then-
him?
No. No, he's a wonderful married guy to a great woman.
Okay.
But I have someone that does some of the more heavy labor
Mm-hmm.
that is separate from my gardening consultant. So, my secret gardener.
Oh, so somebody that is more physical.
Right. Who will
Yeah.
dig the big holes and do all this stuff and do
Mhm.
a lot of those cleanup things that I don't think any of us could necessarily want to do. Anybody over the age of 40, if you're doing the back-breaking work, you're
Amen
just
to that. Yes, I understand.
begging for
Yes.
injury.
Yes, it's true. And digging in Arizona dirt is just dangerous in itself
Right.
because you hit a rock
clay,
and
rocks.
it just jars your soul.
Well, if I were to meet a man that was very passionate about gardening and would want to do that for me,
You'd let him.
I would take applications for husband. Yeah, husband applications available.
Well, I knew she was funny because we were at the nail salon, and she was talking about the men in Italy being so gorgeous, and
Yes.
she took her mom to Italy for
Mhm.
her. She treated her mom to an Italy trip for her 70th birthday. And they
That
were,
sounds like fun.
yeah, they were there for 10 days, and she can tell us all about it. But she was like, yeah, the Italian men are so good looking. And then she just showed me this picture and that picture. She snuck pictures of these Italian
They
guys.
didn't know. They didn't need to know.
So yeah, tell us about Italy. How was that?
Italy was great. Again, the language and the people were just so warm and welcoming, and we did a little quick trip through Venice
Mhm.
and got to see some cool stuff there. You know, nothing's really grown in Venice per se. It's all inland.
But isn't
Right.
their culture generally a lot more like locally sourced than ours?
with a
Like,
ton of seafood in
Yeah.
Venice specifically.
yeah, like
Mhm.
like a high percentage of the food in a town will be like grown
As
within
much
the
as
near
possible.
regions.
Yeah.
Versus here, most of the food will be imported to
We went
most
to a
towns.
small town outside called Bassano del Grappa, which is where grappa was invented. And they are one of the main sources of white asparagus. And so you better believe I had some white asparagus
Oh,
risotto when I was
yeah.
there. It was awesome.
Very
Tell our listeners what grappa is. I just learned what it is. I didn't know until like a month ago.
Grappa is a very strong liquor that is made from the
Remnants. of it.
remnants of a
The
pressing
pomace.
of the pomace,
Yeah.
yes, of what they make wine with. So all the leftover grape
It's kind of like the
product.
resin,
It's
right?
yeah, and then
Yeah.
whatever is left over
I
after
remember
that
I took
gets
a shot of it once, and isn't it kind of sweet?
a little bit.
It
Yeah.
can be.
It depends on the
Depends on
grape.
the
If
kind.
it comes from a certain type of grape, it can have a sensation of being a little bit sweet. If it's from one specific grape, like Riesling or something like that, so you'll get the actual kind of flavor of that grape too.
Interesting. That
But
essence.
it's a distillate, so the pomace is what's left over after everything's been pressed, and you have this big mass of wet pulp, basically, and they press that. So that juice that they press is really not drinkable as wine.
Mhm.
You wouldn't want to drink it,
Mm.
but then they distill it, and that's what grappa is.
Interesting.
And it's very high alcohol too.
So it's a lot stronger.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But and I've had grappas that are very rough, but I've had grappas that are quite delicate and delicious.
Yeah, the one that I had was not drinkable.
Yeah.
I like had half of it. I was like, are
Well,
you trying to poison me? What is this?
Everyone in Italy, like the winemakers, make their own grappa. They usually don't share it with many people. But when they do, they come in these just beautiful bottles.
yeah.
It's that's a fun little side venture.
Where did you try the grappa, Chet?
I forgot what party it was at, but we maybe
you
it's
sure
because
it
of the
was
grappa.
grappa?
Oh yeah, 100%,
Okay.
100%. Because I was like asking about it. I was like, I've never even heard of this before, and I consider myself to have tried everything alcohol wise, and so I was shocked that I hadn't even heard of it before.
But you hadn't tried her bourbon or smoke. What is it called?
Smoke wagon.
Yeah, well,
I've heard of it. I've heard of it
I
before.
didn't hear about grappa until I was in my 30s.
Yeah, see?
So yeah, it was definitely later in life
Sure.
because well, at the time, I mean, back when I was in my 30s, you couldn't go to Total Wine and buy it. I mean, it was really kind of like an underground thing. It was people who made wine are the ones who had grappa because they were the ones that had kind of like, that raw material, and they kind of kept it for themselves and shared it with their friends and family and that kind of thing, special occasions. But it wasn't just sold like it is now.
So if you go to buy grappa, is it more expensive than wine?
It depends. Well, it's a distillate. It's distilled, so it's a spirit. So it depends. The good ones are quite expensive, but just like
But
making
name a
wine,
good one.
I don't know any names.
What would be the price of a good grappa?
40, 50, 60,
something like
that.
more.
Yeah.
Sure.
But now in France they do the same thing, but it's called Mar, M-A-R-C, Mar.
Ma.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the same thing as.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So is it
Grappa's
kind of
Italian,
So
right?
Mar de Bourgogne.
Sounds like Italian moonshine, kind of.
Yeah.
It kind of is, yeah, sort of, kind of.
Yeah, we did stop in Bologna on the way too, and that's a really good culinary capital. So
Oh yeah.
where they created bologna.
That sounds like a bunch of
Bolognese.
baloney.
It was a bunch of bologna. I had the most delicious bologna, which is mortadella. It's amazing.
Oh, I love it.
And then several days in Florence with a little stop in Chianti, which lots of really great locally grown things.
Yeah.
Got some real good tomatoes.
Do you feel that they're quite sustainable there in Italy?
No.
Okay.
I think they.
Okay.
I don't necessarily think they try to be sustainable. They're just doing what they know how to do.
Don't they have a lot less waste though?
Yes.
I feel like that's one part of their culture that's a lot more sustainable. They the U.S. is very bad when it comes to waste. Per person, we have the most waste, but a lot of those European countries are a lot more efficient. But
That's why when I'm at a restaurant, I always say, let's start with sharing. Let's share this and that, and then you can keep ordering more, but when you just order all the stuff and, you take it home and somebody doesn't eat it, that is very wasteful.
yeah, and I think it's important to celebrate travel, and that should be part of Earth Day is going to go travel to other parts of the world and see it and enjoy the other cultures and appreciate it. Like so many people nowadays go too far into the eco war and they're like, oh, you should save the fossil fuels. It's like, no, you still have to go out and explore the world and enjoy the world and experience cultures and stuff like that.
Yeah, but
And
just do it on a bicycle.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, just bike across the Atlantic.
On a
You'll have no problem. But
Yeah, one of those paddle bikes. Right?
There's balance in everything. though.
yeah, exactly. That's what I was getting at. Is that there is balance in everything. Like the next time I go on a big trip like that, I'm gonna go out and pick up trash or something. Do something to try to offset some of that carbon footprint, or just try to source everything more locally. That's a huge way you can do it, and we've been talking about that all episode. So
Well, I bought a locally sourced, and I had a handmade purse made for me. I met the woman. I picked out my picked out the leather, picked out the inside, had her do the whole thing. So everything was.
Was this in Italy?
Yeah, it was in Florence.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
My bag actually just got here, so
The
the
You
good
have it
news.
with you? Let's look at it.
No, it just got here to my house while I was sitting in the parking lot.
Oh,
So,
really? How
A
cool.
couple days delayed. So the good news.
Because she just got back. How many days have you been back from Italy?
2,
2 days.
but my
Yeah, 2
suitcase,
days.
my suitcase did not make it.
Oh,
so
no.
the suitcase just got here.
Seriously? Oh my god.
you're lucky you got it though.
I know. Well, it got stuck in Munich.
Oh, Munich, yeah.
Those Germans.
We had a 40-minute layover. I can't blame them. I was running to the plane. I was the last person on. It was great.
So what your mom, what was her best, memory of the trip, and what would you say she just was mesmerized by?
Well, as for someone
What was
that she had
happening
never
there?
been out of the continental United States.
Wow.
So
Really?
it was a big
Marvelous.
deal. So we, I think it was just being able to see something different and seeing the different localities of everything and how different it was from region to region. Because when people think Italian, what do they think? Pizza, spaghetti,
Pasta, pizza.
meatballs.
Yeah, tomato sauce.
Garlic.
Yeah. Well,
But in
Garlic
Florence,
bread.
in Florence, sure, there was a fair amount of all that. Same thing with Bologna, but it was a little bit different in Venice. It was a little bit different in
Florence.
Bologna. It was a little bit different in Florence because it was so local, which brings us back to kind of everything that we've been talking about so far.
So that means they are pretty sustainable then.
Well,
If they're really sourcing local and supporting local, that's extremely sustainable.
I think that started way back in, the Middle Ages, back when they
Right.
had to,
Yes.
and I don't think they ever shied away. I don't think they really ever got away
Of
from
course.
it. Because I don't know what the situation is with Amazon or anything similar to Amazon there, but I guarantee you it's not like it is here.
No.
Well, let's talk about industrial farming. The advent of industrial farming has changed everything, and is one of the most destructive practices on the planet, and it's what will destroy this planet. It will destroy the soil. Who said it? I forget. One of the earlier people back in the 70s who did a lot of the writing about the ecology said, who decided it was a good idea to use poison to grow our food? Seriously, think about
It's
it.
true.
And this is what industrial farming does.
Yeah.
And it does destroy the soil.
Well,
I
it
mean,
destroys you too.
Yes, exactly. And
Just a
so
little bit of poison
talk
won't
about,
hurt you.
this is the thing that is not sustainable.
Well, the people that don't get it, I mean, obviously, if a poison is killing bugs, and then you're ingesting that, you're eating that, it's obvious it's
the
no brainer that's
development
going
of
to cause cancer.
industrial farming was just like everything else, the chemical industry, the oil industry, all this is springs from that, right?
When you see women that have thinning hair and they're only like 50, it's from eating all those
And
toxins.
this is what the average person eats. Now, there have been studies done that say, well, we have to do industrial farming because we need enough food to feed everyone. But the fact is, and they've done studies on this, that if you can do small sustainable farms locally and feed everyone better.
And it's way more sustainable in the long term.
Exactly. So
all the industrial farming is going to lead
this is
to
a matter of economic.
Greed.
Yes, it's economic.
well, and it's a matter of the future of the human race too, because if they keep
it's
down that,
economic blackmail.
But also, people need to wake up and smell the coffee and open up their eyes, because a lot of people are just like sheep and they're like, oh, okay,
Well, that's right.
everybody else is
Well,
eating
that-
it,
yeah.
and everybody's.
I'm really excited about my 99-cent chicken.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say who, but somebody that we know. She would shop at Walmart and be all excited that is getting the cheapest groceries. It's like your health. There's nothing more, but
Well, they also have the cheapest organic too, but that's because they buy in crazy bulk because they're a behemoth.
and because it's not really organic. Because unless it's certified, it's not really organic.
So I think they do.
Well,
have
it's
some
certified
organics.
organic. It's
I think they-
certified.
Well,
but
even
again,
with organic, there's still 133
Yeah.
pesticides that are
Technically
allowed.
Yeah.
And
I
there's
know
a
it's in
difference
my garden.
between
Exactly.
buying organic,
Exactly.
even in Whole Foods or someplace like that, and buying from your local farmer's market, where it's likely to be really organic.
it's going to be way higher quality from the farmer's market.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
Or from my backyard.
yeah,
Yes.
no matter what you
Yes.
can
There we
do,
go.
something.
Our new best friend, Amy's Gardens.
So yeah, if you don't have the time to start a garden of your own, you can still start shopping
Sure.
organic and locally and go to these farmers markets. There are other ways to contribute if you don't have time for a garden.
Well, and even in like Fountain Hills, as an example, they have a little community garden where you can have your own free little plot of garden to go do something
Yep.
with. So there are places where you can do it.
Yes.
Or go in with friends and do it. There's a
Yeah.
way to do it. If
I
you
wonder how
want.
many people try to grow cannabis in there. They're like, no. This is
Probably
for
more than you
food.
think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not in
No,
Fountain
no,
Hills.
but there are-
That's a very Republican-driven location. I think.
They still like to smoke too.
Yeah.
Well, they probably do. I mean, I know all
Yeah.
kinds.
Cannabis
There's
is-
more low key about
Cannabis is very difficult to grow here in Phoenix. It's just too hot. It really needs either an indoor type grow, at least here, or more like in the Cottonwood area or down in Wilcox. Just the terroir here and the temperature is not.
Well,
good.
Yeah, I've heard you have to basically be indoors if you're
Yeah.
in Phoenix.
We
But
do
if
really
you've been
have to.
reading any of the articles recently, some of the big commercial growers are now starting to fold because everyone is able to grow their own, or the proliferation of all of the smaller, more local ways of doing it. Some of these big ones, they grew too fast and they grew too big, and also some of the laws in between states make it really difficult. But there are some companies that are getting ready to go down the tubes.
Well, that's more of a supply and demand type
Yeah.
thing. I mean, there's huge grows that produce they can produce more than everybody in the state needs.
Absolutely.
And that's driven the price down, which has
Right.
really cost a lot of.
But those interstate trade laws make it really difficult.
Well, absolutely.
Because then it gets federal.
Yep.
So I want to hear
Absolutely.
what everybody did on Earth Day, to make a difference. And I'm going to start with Amy.
Oh yeah. Well, I went to the nail salon.
There you go.
I also binged watched 8 hours of Netflix.
Let's not underestimate going to the nail salon. That's stimulating your local economy. You help pay that woman's bills for the day.
Sure.
So
That's true.
that's another form of sustainability a lot of people forget about.
Right on.
That's true. And anytime you are doing something to bring joy to yourself, you're able to then pass it on to others.
Sure.
Because when you feel good, you like to make other people feel good. So we were
But it
also
is a
doing
locally owned business.
that. It is.
Yep.
It is. It is.
And I've been going there for
And then you probably
11 years. So
you probably worked in your garden.
No.
Oh, you did. Okay. So did you do anything specific to celebrate your Earth Day?
She just said what she did. She took herself to get her nails done.
Okay, so that
And
was
then
very
she
good.
watched.
answered.
She binge watched Netflix, which meant she didn't go out anywhere. She
Nope.
wasn't polluting the planet
Okay, that's
anywhere.
good.
She probably made her own food.
yeah, I drive an electric car. Give me a break.
See, there
It's
you go.
okay.
Okay,
that's a
there we
great
go.
one.
There we
There
go.
you
There
go.
we go.
I drove that.
There
Well,
you go.
I'm super excited. I guess I'll tell you what I did.
Yes. What did you do? Kinga?
Yeah.
I wanted everyone to ask me. I actually was super excited about planting or getting a tree or something that would be better for the environment, be eco-friendly and take out the pollution. And so I did research on houseplants and learned about the peace lily and the snake plant. Owen, can you come over?
You got it.
No, come on over.
Just tell us about it.
I want Owen to come over and tell us because he was the one that helped pick the plants. Here's Owen.
Hello. What do you want me to say? Just like talk about it?
Yeah, just talk about the snake plant and the
snake
peace lily.
plant is an indoor plant that pretty much like detoxifies the air, and it's meant to be stationed like next to your bed, and it's promoted as like a deep sleep plant. So basically, as you're sleeping, it purifies the air, which in turn you're breathing pure air, and your body is
Lots of oxygen.
healthy. Yeah.
It emits
It's good for your body. Yeah.
oxygen. Yeah.
So yeah, and
Awesome.
then the peace lily is pretty much the same thing. It's just detoxifying the air.
And Barrage Nursery, give a plug to them.
Oh yeah, Baird's Nursery was really
Which
everybody
one?
was really
Barrage
nice.
Barrage,
Nursery.
yes.
Barrage Nursery. It's local. It's
Yeah.
a
I'm gonna go there.
nice family-owned business.
It's right down the street.
I got a snake plant from Dig It, which is a wonderful little nursery on 16th Street near where I live.
Mhm.
And it's very local. And I went there and bought a snake plant, which I wanted to do for years. And after talking to you about it, I said, damn it, I'm
gonna go do it.
I'm going to buy me a snake plant
In fact, can I see my
right
phone?
away. I will not wait another day.
I screenshot, well, because I know you said you had some trouble sleeping. And so I thought of you when I was getting the snake plant because this
Yeah.
lady went on and on
No,
about.
I tried to put it in bed with me the first night, so you
Yeah.
can get really close. You know.
Really
Yeah.
get that.
But I didn't. That didn't work out well.
Okay, so here we go. It says the snake plant is one of the most detoxifying plants in the world, and it purifies the air. We already knew that. Removes the toxins. We already said that. Formaldehyde, benzene,
Yep.
and many of the other plants studied by NASA. This is the only one that really successfully removes two toxins. One of the two toxins, but snake plants are able to remove 4 major toxins.
Hmm.
So,
No, it's
Yeah.
remarkable.
mhm.
The plant world is
Mhm.
remarkable.
I mean, I didn't know that. We just discovered that at
Yeah.
Barrage Nursery.
Right,
But
right.
we're human beings. Hey, let's destroy it. See what happens.
But I think people are
We can
getting
go to Mars, right?
more aware, and people are doing more. And I
That's
think we have to
true.
be positive, right?
That's true. Can I play this thing from Julia Roberts?
Yes.
This is so amazing. Can I play it right on?
Yeah, just
onto
put the microphone or the speaker right on the microphone. We should get
Is there a way to turn it up for the room so
Yes,
it's on?
I'm going to do it.
there.
Hold on 1 second here.
on speaker.
Yeah.
Some call me nature. Others call me Mother Nature. I've been here for over 4.5 billion years. 22,500 times longer than you. I don't really need people, but people need me. Yes, your future depends on me. When I thrive, you thrive. When I falter, you falter. Or worse. But I've been here for eons. I have fed species greater than you, and I have starved species greater than you. My oceans, my soil, my flowing streams, my forests, they all can take you or leave you. How you choose to live each day, whether you regard or disregard me, doesn't really matter to me. One way or the other. Your actions will determine your fate, not mine. I am nature. I will go on. I am prepared to evolve. Are you?
Wow.
Pretty sobering, huh?
Wow.
Good stuff.
I've got chills. That's such a great Julia
I
Roberts.
don't know
did
who
an
wrote that,
amazing
but
job.
it is extraordinary. It's very sobering. and
Did
very
Julia
true.
Roberts do that?
No, she just did the piece. She
So
didn't write
she
it.
was the narrator,
Yeah,
but she
she's
didn't
the
write that.
narrator, yeah.
Wow, impressive.
But
Wow.
and that is that's the reality
Mhm.
right there that we just heard. And here's the thing:
Thank you.
there are, I mean, if you get away from mainstream media, I mean, I see things even on Facebook. I've learned about things that are actually people are doing on this planet that could make a tremendous difference. Like what they were doing with mushrooms. Even mushrooms have the ability to clean up. The most toxic material. I mean, there's all these little projects that people are doing all over
Mushrooms,
the
yeah.
planet.
Oh yeah, fungi are massively
Yes.
sustainable.
Yeah, there's
Exactly.
a documentary on
Yeah.
Netflix,
Yeah,
The Fantastic
yeah.
Fungi.
Yeah,
So
which
which
is
is
incredible.
And one thing I wanted to bring up that's kind of a interesting topic. Did you guys see? It was like about a couple months ago. One of the Teslas that like blew up on Scottsdale Road. It was like a massive.
I heard about it.
Yeah, it was a massive hazmat situation, and I guess it's happened a few times in the past couple months. And it's sparking more fuel for the debate of electric cars versus fossil fuel cars. Because if these batteries start blowing up and creating massive like toxic zones, that's so unsustainable, and like it's creating way more like toxic pollution than a car would if it drove for 1 million miles, a gas car. So it's kind of reopening the debate on like how sustainable the electric cars really are, because if it's 1 in a million that are going to blow up like that, well, think once they put 50 million onto the roads, that's going to be 50 of those toxic emergencies throughout the country. So but yeah, it was a really big event. It blew up like in front of Scottsdale Quarter. They had to evacuate all those malls. Yeah, there was a toxic chemical fire.
When was this?
It was like, I think in February, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a couple months ago.
I didn't hear about this.
Yeah, it was big national news too, because like a lot of people didn't want to buy Teslas anymore.
Right.
'Cause- yeah, but
Well, yeah, if it catches on fire and you have to evacuate a 1
Yeah.
square mile, that might be a
Well,
problem.
just so you
Yeah.
know, Mitch, our regular from Hawaii, that is always giving
Uh-huh.
us shows that are really just cutting edge about sustainability. He's very against the Teslas.
Yeah, he's very
Yeah.
against. He's more the hydrogen energy.
Yeah, hydrogen.
oh, the hydrogen energy is for sure
Yes.
where the future
Yeah.
is.
Yes.
No
Yes.
question about
Far
it.
more scalable.
And there are different,
Uh-huh.
there's a whole lot of research on different batteries too that are not lithium based that are very promising. But again, these are things that you don't hear about.
Mhm.
Lithium, now they're talking about, all the lithium deposits here. They're going to start, The fact is that there are different technologies that,
Well, why are we not
years,
just doing the
but-
hydrogen?
Well, we should be
Why?
pushing for hydrogen. That's
Yeah.
really
Hydrogen is great.
We should get him on the phone
and,
right now.
and different
Check on.
different types of batteries will work too. The fact is that forever, for decades and decades and decades, the petroleum industry has ruled. You know how many incredibly helpful patented inventions have been bought by the oil industry
And
just
shelved.
could be
Oh
shelved
yeah.
just to
to
bury
make a
it, yeah.
difference. In fact, Henry Ford was the first, I think, the first to create an electric car. Now imagine if the electric cars had been
Taken off instead
taken
of
off instead
yeah.
of the gas produced cars. How different where we'd be
That would
right
be a
now,
good science fiction show.
right?
Right,
Where we'd
where
be
if
right-
some alternate
just,
universe,
you know.
that would be very
Although there's some
interesting.
people like what Chet was saying and like what Mitch thinks from Hawaii, that in the long term, too many electric cars are going to be really harmful.
Oh no, that's not what I was saying.
Not if they had been developed since 1925.
Yeah, it would have evolved way faster.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, my point was mostly that they need to start putting more focus onto the hydrogen-powered engines and cars.
Exactly.
No
'Cause
question.
those are the safest. They are the least
Yeah.
toxic if
Yes.
they have an issue.
Mhm.
So from a safety and sustainability standpoint, hydrogen power is the future.
We have to get him back on the show again.
Yeah.
He's
I
so,
agree.
it's so
I agree,
interesting.
but this all comes down to a question of economics.
Well, yeah, it's just a
And-
crazy thing to think about. If you put yourself in that shoes of that driver who almost died in that
Yeah.
explosion, what if they had just sold like a 25 mile per gallon car to get that Tesla, thinking they were going to be more sustainable, and then their car blows up and creates a massive hazmat suit situation. So it just goes to show you that the number one way you can be sustainable is reduce and try to limit your usage of things like that.
Well, and I think you need to be informed too. Like
Yeah.
I do drive a Tesla, but I didn't buy it because it's sustainable. I bought it because it's convenient. I can plug the car into my house at
Yeah.
night,
Yeah.
and I don't have to go get gas. I don't have to get maintenance. I don't have to do all these things.
Do you enjoy your Tesla?
Oh, I love it.
Okay, good review for Teslas here. Then.
No,
I'm
yeah.
happy yours didn't.
I
wasn't
love
the
it
one
when
that blew
Teslas
up.
don't blow up.
Yeah.
And just the idea of having full torque without having to do anything other than just putting your foot on the pedal is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But with that said, you're paying for the electricity somehow, some way, whether it's the creation of the battery or whether it's the disposal of the battery when you're done or whatever it is, you're paying for it somehow. It's
Well,
not truly a sustainable product. You can pretend all you want, but it's
Well,
not.
and it would be
Not yet.
sustainable if they implement some kind of policy that forces us to use only renewable resources for power. Like if we move to only wind and solar and hydroelectric power sources, then it would be fully sustainable. But if they keep building fossil fuel power plants or nuclear power plants, then we're still polluting the earth. So it's definitely, if we want electric cars to be fully sustainable, we need to also be pushing for policies that support green power sources like solar and all the ones I just mentioned. So
Earth Day is every day. We have
Yeah.
to kind of wrap up here because
Yeah, we got about 2.5
Dominic's
minutes.
over there saying we have 2 minutes. So Earth Day is every day. So
our two main themes are support local
okay,
and support sustainable power sources, solar, wind, water. We need to elect politicians that are preaching these things. Otherwise, we're not going to be in a sustainable.
buy a snake plant.
Yeah.
Put it in your, put it in your bed with
That's
you.
what it comes down to: political and economic will.
Yeah.
Right?
So, but plant a tree, plant some more plants.
Plant a tree.
Make a little
That's-
garden.
Yeah, exactly.
Edible
Source
garden,
local.
Edible
Small.
garden.
Source it from your backyard.
Edible garden. That
Edible garden.
you don't have to
That's
drive to the store to get food. You just go to your garden.
That's
You're
right.
saving gas. You're saving time, and there's no toxins,
True.
which is totally saving the planet.
Mhm.
And I'm really fascinated by the snake plant, guys. It's my new bed partner. So please do your research because I promise you, it's supposed to detoxify your mind and the air, and
Your mind.
yes, it's supposed to make you peace. It's bringing
peaceful.
peace.
Yes.
Yes, and it's supposed to take away allergies
Yeah.
and give you better sleep.
I'm getting
So-
4 more.
I bought 3 of them.
I'm getting some more. I got one.
I'm gonna have them all
loving
over.
it. And
I
also,
love it.
And I don't know if it's psychosomatic, but I literally feel like I'm sleeping better. And
Totally
and when I'm breathing the air, it feels like just so fresh. I feel like I'm in Hawaii. It feels so good. There's something about the snake plant.
also they say
And I don't
put
own-
one by your front door. Feng shui, the
Oh.
energy. so that all the bad energy that you bring in from the outside, you have pass by it.
Really?
Front door, yep.
Love
And
it.
snake plants also bring good luck. And also, I bought a peace lily. I'm gonna go buy more of those. So, plant trees, have an edible garden, carpool, try to vintage shop a little
Start a
bit.
neighborhood garden.
And shop
There
at
you go.
Goodwill. That's a huge one. They
Shop at
used to be
Goodwill.
one of our
There you go.
sponsors, and
Yeah.
they are
There you go.
so sustainable for the community, whether it's recycling and repurposing things
Mhm.
or re-educating people. Goodwill, they couldn't be better. So.
Go get an electric Porsche. I love Porsches.
There you go.
And here's another way to be sustainable. When you have a Porsche, you want to protect it and you want to drive less. And then you want to stay in your bubble because there's only certain places you can drive it to. So that's very sustainable. Saving the planet.
One show at a time.